Hello and welcome to my second game, Debate Club. The game where you debate, basically. So what you can do is you pick one of the many arguments that I've got, and yeah, you debate for your side. So we got death penalty. So this, if you click here, you'll be arguing that people should be allowed to be executed. This is for people not being able to be executed. This is that vaccination should be mandatory, and this is that vaccination should not be mandatory. This here is that weed should be legalised. This is that weed should stay legal. This is that guns should stay the same in America, and this is that guns should be banned in America, or at least heavily like controlled. This is pro life, and this is pro-choice. And this here is sort of a joke debate, which is it should still work in the final version. A lot of these don't actually work currently. Currently, we've got that one working, that one working. That one working, that one working, that one working, and that one working. Because yeah, this is still a pre-build, so this isn't the final version yet. But yeah, and then yeah, this is flat Earth, or is the Earth not flat? That's sort of a joke debate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the debate and go through the mechanics, and yeah. Also, a quick thing is I feel like genuinely this might be a game that I might expand at some point. Because yeah, I made this for university in 3 months alongside another game. So yeah, there's not much polish to it, and there's a lot more mechanics I didn't manage to put in, which I will talk about later on in the video, but I will show you what I've got for my project right now. So yeah, this is the debate. Should marijuana be legal? So you can see a bunch of card types. These will be explained in the tutorial. There's a visual glitch there. It's still... yeah, it's not as polished as I would like it to be, but 3 months to do this in another game, and there's a lot of writing in this game, like so much writing, and to get the card system working. Well, I'm still very new to Unity, but yeah, it's good, hopefully. So yeah, these are your basic points. What these will be is, these are called arguments. Now these, so you throw a point there, and yeah, they like that, because they're angry. This is how emotions work, so the audience can feel 5 emotions. Angry, and they can be in a funny mood, they can be sad, they can be serious, or they can be passionate. Now, every argument card has one emotion that's really good, one emotion that's really bad, and the other 3 are kind of neutral. So, for example, if you say a straight fact, when they're in a serious mood, they're going to really like that. But if they're in a more angry mood, when they're not really thinking straight, they might not like that, or any other moods they could be quite neutral about it. So, the whole idea of the game is working out what points are the best thing to say at certain times. Like a real debate. You've got to be able to read the audience and determine what you're going to say. But yeah, there's some more card types. So these on here, they're called gestures. What they do is they do another effect. So this one here makes the audience serious, and you gain some audience approval. So yeah, now they're serious. Okay, these ones here, they're called references. So what happens with a reference is if you stack it on top of the same reference, it will give you a lot of points, or in Brown one's case, we'll discuss those later. But these two here, it is physically impossible to die from marijuana overdose. If you can, in a row, do 2 different sources for that, I'll show you. So, down there, that's good, but then, if we do it again, yeah, it's going to give us a huge bonus. That can be done up to 3 times, so a huge part of this game is waiting till you get a stack of 3 of the same reference. That's going to give you a lot of points. So these ones here, okay, so let's first discuss the brown ones. The whole idea behind them is occasionally when you're trying to talk to someone, you might get something weird in your head that is cluttering up your thought space. These are called clutter cards. So what they are is that they're very bad unless the audience is in one specific situation. So the whole goal of these is you don't want them, but you do need to be able to get rid of them. So you need to wait till the audience is in the right mood, and then hope that they're in the right mood so it doesn't actually do a bad thing. So this thing will do a bad thing right now. Yeah, look, you lost points there. Same if you do it here. Yeah, like, unless they were in a funny mood, those 2 wouldn't have worked. But yeah, that's the whole idea of clutter, is you've got to try and get rid of it. So, and there is one emotion for everything of clutter that will give you bonus points. It won't decrease. Now these are a mixture of clutter and references. So if you're talking to the right emotions, so at this point, if they're in a funny mood, these three will get you a bunch of points. But if I do this now, it's going to get us huge negative amounts of points. We might even lose the debate if we do all three at a time. Yep, we did, and we probably need to nerf that, to be honest. Okay, so let's go back into this debate so I can show you a few more things. And we'll show you another debate before the end of the video. So, yeah, we're back, we've got these two, so we can... Also, you wanted to hear this because of... Yeah, I decided not to record audio of the game. Partially because of... Yeah, it's just gonna... Yeah, like, it makes it easier to hear my voice. Like, I'll edit it over, but the audio will change. The music will change depending on their mood and how good or bad you're doing. So yeah, we're going to stack two references on top of each other. Okay, but that's angry, so that's not... So that reference didn't do as good as it could have because they were in the wrong mood. So yeah, what you've got to do is you've got to think, okay... So they're angry at the moment, so saying a statistic like that's probably not going to do great, but if we make them humorous... And then we say it feels great to smoke it, yeah, that's going to do better. That's how you get rid of your bad cards, but if we do make the audience serious... Then we can, okay, then that's not thing enough. Okay, let's try and make them passionate. That's what you've got to read your cards and know, so this here should, yep, did good. That's what you got to do, you've got to read your cards and work out, okay, what's the best thing for the audience to be feeling right now. So, yeah, let's just throw a few cards just to see what happens. Okay, the opponent, they will just bout whatever, like... Okay, so what happens is all their decks also put in a database, kind of. It's all randomised and they'll just keep drawing, so they will never repeat themselves, but, yeah. Let's make them sad. So, yeah, the whole idea of the game is to manipulate the audience and use your points to win. Okay, so let's have a look at one of the other debates, which we're going to do pro-gun. Now, as you can see, this is a much more difficult debate, because of, even though we are in America, as the American flag show, which, yeah, well, the stereotype is that all Americans love guns. In reality, they don't. Like 26% or something that are actually pro no more regulations, it's good as it is. There's nothing, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the gun control laws. So yeah, if you're and that's what we do. Every debate, the general consensus on the topic is how much health you start off with. So if you're arguing for a debate that more people like arguing for a debate which more people agree with your side of the topic, it's going to be much higher. Now, I personally don't agree with the gun laws currently in America. I think they need to be more heavily restricted or banned altogether. So that was one of the more difficult things of making the game, actually, was trying to make it so both sides had like an argument. So, and there's definitely to try and stop a bias. So everyone has got some joke cards in them, but I didn't really want to take like laugh at one side of an argument just because I didn't agree with it. So yeah, we tried getting some good points for both sides. Like Mexico, yeah, they have some strict gun laws, but there's still a lot of people killed by guns there. So yeah, that's a point that you might make if you were on this side of the argument. But anyway, yeah, so same thing, there's the points that people get very mad at if they're in the wrong mood. There's normal points, let's make them humorous. And then yeah, a lot of things. This is quite a hard debate just because of what you're arguing for in comparison to what most people believe in. But yeah, if I was ever publish this, I'd make sure to do a lot more research on everything and get people from both arguments. Of course, I never published this version. This version is not complete enough to publish. But if I ever was to expand upon it and release it commercially, yeah, I'd make sure every argument has. I'd get people who actually believe in the opposing political views, so get some better points. Although I do think I don't. Excuse me, I done a right job of some of these. Yeah, so yeah, to show how, yeah, not great. Yeah, so we're not doing great in this. Yeah, we lost. That's the thing is, yeah, there definitely needs to be some more balancing because of, yeah, that's bloody difficult, that is. But yeah, I definitely do need to balance it a bit. But that's the whole charm of the game. That's the whole idea I'm trying to put forward, is that yeah, fighting for certain things you might believe in isn't going to be easy if the general consensus disagrees with you, the general population disagrees with you. So yeah, I didn't want to balance things for that sake. So yeah, certain arguments are going to be harder to debate for. So here's the title screen, as you can see. Yeah, it's all just, yeah, a background and two signs and some buttons. So yeah, basic stuff there, and yeah, they will animate. They're all animated. Yeah, animated there. They'll move along. But no, yeah. So currently I've got the pro and anti-weed done. I've got pro and anti-gun done, and I've got anti-death penalty done. I do hope to, yeah, get both death penalty ones done before I hand it in, and hopefully maybe one other. But I think it takes so long to do these debates because there's so much research that goes into it. There's so much writing that goes into it. So much back end stuff because of, yeah, like every single argument needs to have different audience reactions depending on what emotion the state they're in. The tutorial I haven't done yet, but I'll do that soon. So yeah. So yeah, I'll show you now how one of the debates works. Let's go to Pro Week. That's the one I first started making. So yeah, just like most games, it's all in the void, and then we got the actual thing. So yeah, as you would have thought, there's no actual wall here, and there's the camera pointing here, and there's your two little guys there with your camera stands which I modelled on Blender. Yeah, Blender. Let's try and get a bit closer. Yeah, so there's a bit more detail in it than you would normally notice from the game, because of, yeah, I didn't really think about how small it would end up being in the game. Then there's the British flags there, which, yeah, they're there just so you know what country you're in, like without having anyone having to say anything, so you know what kind of audience you're trying to debate for. Now there's, yeah, the sort of illusion of a full hall because of just limited to how much you see. There's actually, yeah, just, yeah, it's not really proper like that. There's literally a ramp which goes into the floor. These just hover from the ground, but you can't see it because the stage is in the way. And then if you go past there, yeah, there's no one else there. There's a few more seats there, and yeah, the roof. So yeah, that's how it's and that's the same works on every other stage. Okay, so the code's quite sloppy just because of the limited time I had to actually make it. So, but it works pretty well. So yeah, what it does is, okay, so these are all just establishing stuff. It's just calling things, which then I put into the, which then I will drag the specific object into it. There, so yeah, from the actual game. Yeah, so this here, what this does is it will, yeah, shuffle your deck basically. So it'll get between, yeah, 0 and 39, it'll shuffle it, and then whenever it counts out a number, it will remove that number. So basically what it does is it basically shuffles your deck, and then the next number will be called out every time, Same with the opponent's deck here. So basically, yeah, this here just makes both of your decks, and it shuffles them for you. That way, you'll never get the, yeah, it's not predetermined. You get what cards you're given. These here just very specific things. So yeah, this just makes sure the animations for player damage and opponent damage isn't working. Yeah, this is the music. So all music will start playing. What happens is the music is dynamic with it. Is if you're doing well, the music will change to be good, and if you're doing badly, it will change to be bad. And also, depending on their emotion, there will be a different backing tune. So yeah, they all start playing at once and immediately mute. Because what that does basically is, so I can just sort of unmute and mute them again, so they'll always be playing in the right space. Because otherwise, it's not very dynamic if it changes to a variant of a song, but at the beginning instead of the point where it's currently playing at. If that makes sense. Audience mood always starts at 5. Don't know why I picked 5. It just does. Yeah, and then this is, yeah, it will just have to shoot you cards. These are okay, because the maximum amount of references, like groups of references, the deck will have 2. So these just set the reference power to 1. Now, whenever you use a reference, that reference power will increase by 1, whilst if you use another card, it will decrease back to 1. So basically, what this allows is for the references to work. So if you consecutively play cards of the same reference, it will do more. Yeah, it'll increase your audience approval. Card position 5. We got, yeah, these here basically. What this is it just, from that it just establishes what, because a card button 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the cards in your hand. So basically, it'll just sort of, yeah, this is basically what gathers the first 5 cards in your hand from the deck. What we got there is, yeah, it will listen out then. A listener is added to check if you press a card. Yeah, and it will move all the cards to the right positions. And this is where it starts to get way more complicated. Yeah, there's a lot of code here. A lot of it I definitely could have made more simple. Okay, now this here is in place so you can read the text displayed in an ample amount of time. So because the text won't move on until you click. So what happens is there's 3 states. There's your attack, there's the opponent reply, and then there's like final. Now, so what will happen is when you do your move, talk check will be turned to 1, and once your opponent done their move, talk check will be turned to 0. So basically what happens is, on talk check is naturally 2, I think. So what that does is, yeah, you do your move, then you click. Yeah, because once you've done your move, talk check automatically turns to 1. So once you do your move, you click, opponent reply starts, and talk check gets turned to 0. Then you click again, and then the final thing will happen. This here is long and tedious, but basically it's how the health thing works. So there's 100 different textures, and depending on your player approval, player audience approval, will depend on what one's displayed. So yeah, it will just sort of cycle between the textures. Then if you're doing like good, then this one, your wrong song will play, which is just the good version of the song, and the same for the bad song. So if you're doing bad, if you're less than 45, then yeah, the bad song will start playing, and else, yeah, the normal song will start playing. If audience mood equals 1, we'll set it to grey. Basically, this here is just how the emotions work. So audience mood gets changed by the gestures. So yeah, this will just sort of it switches what song's playing in the back. It switches the material of the audience, and it switches what of the sprites are loaded for these. So yeah, and that's the same for all 5 different emotions. This here is, yeah, if card position equals 34, so if 34 different turns are played, and your thing is higher than 50, you win. Same with if you're under 50. I should actually change that, because of if you are equally 50, it'll probably glitch out. Change it now. If it's higher than 49, you win. So that will include 50. So if you are on 50, you'll win. Whilst if it's lower than 50, so 49 or lower, you'll lose. So that's all solved for like the two people that cared. Okay, so this here is now if these here is okay. So this is what happens whenever you click a card. Now this is duplicated 5 times depending on which one of the 5 cards in your hand were played, basically. So what that does is there's very minor differences, so it will just sort of choose what card it gets the information from. Yeah, I probably could have thought of an easy way for this, but I didn't. So let's go through this, shall we? So yeah, this is what happens when you start your turn. So what it does, it will play Male Voice 2, which is, yeah, that's the clip for the sound which you won't be able to hear because of I'll play it now. Yeah, that sound for when your character starts speaking. Then we remove the listeners for all the buttons because of that way players can't just keep glitching by keep pressing the buttons. Then we move the card out of the way, just get it out of there. We get rid of the deck so you can't click anything. We make the speech bubble active. We turn the thought bubble off. We turn the player spotlight on, and we turn the opponent spotlight off. We turn the question marks above your head off, and the ones on the opponent's head on, because that's, yeah, you stop thinking, you've done your move. And then we start this, which gets below here. That's that way I can just do timing because of, yeah, that's how these work. So what it does is it will then gather a bunch of things from the card. So description, which, yeah, it gets from the card 1. This is basically why I had to do it 5 times, is so it can gather from card 1 instead of card 2. So yeah, it'll get the description from card 1, which will, yeah, gather from a child of it. Emotion Pro, which is, yeah, the best emotion. Emotion Con, which is just the worst emotion. The audience response, which is just, if it's not one of those 2 emotions, how much damage will you take? The audience response Pro, which is just, yeah, if it's the best, like if they're in the best emotion for your card, how much damage will that you do? And then same with Con, it's if they're in the worst emotion for your card, what's going to happen? And then this is what the audience will say if they're in the best mood, and then what they'll say from the worst mood. Okay, so what we do, card type, it works out the card type, because of, yeah, there's different card types in the game, so the same code can't apply to all card types. If it's argument, which comes on the 3 different cards, there's just the normal arguments. The clutter cards count as arguments in the code, because they don't have to do anything different when running them, and the God cards, which I don't actually know, that's not the official name for it, but I don't know what I'm calling it. So yeah, what it will do is it will get the player speech, which will be what's in the speech mark, and it will just equal the description of your card. The dummy card, which is the call to animation where the card gets thrown at the opponent, that will active, and the animation will happen. Then this is the exact same amount of time as it takes for the animation to play out. Then the opponent damaged animation, which is the particles, not animation, but yeah, particles coming out of the opponent will play, and the dummy card will be false, and then the opponent damage animation, the particles will stop playing. Then this is where damage calculation comes in. So if it's Emotion Pro, then we take, this is where damage calculation comes in. So if it's the best possible, if the audience in the best possible emotion for your cards, then it will take Emotion Pro. It will take Audience Response Pro. It will get the component with text. It will turn it into an integer, and it will plus that onto the player audience approval, which is your health. Audience speech bubble will be true, and they will say the audience response for the best possible response. And then audience speech will also be blue because it's good. And then the same with bad, but bad, and then else, which will be anything else yeah, it will just get audience response, turn into an integer, plus that's the player audience approval. Then reference power and reference power 2 will turn into 1 because of if you use an argument in between a reference, it's not going to stack on top of each other. Gestures are all individually coded, so every gesture card has got a number attached to it. And so yeah, that's 0, that's 1, and this is what will happen. So audience will turn to 3, someone will say something, and yeah, these are all very specific. And yeah, reference power, yeah, same as the other thing. Then this is how references work. So if it's reference 1, which is in the first 3 references, then yeah, it will get all the information similar to an argument. Yeah, it will work basically the same as an argument, although it will also calculate the reference power. So if you use the second consecutive one, then this reference power will be used, which will give you stronger attack. Same with that, but 3, and then yeah, it will turn them back to 1. But then yeah, it'll turn it back to 1, and it should somewhere. I made this ages ago. This bit. Oh yeah, there. Reference power equals reference power plus 1. So whenever you do it, like in a row, yeah, reference power will equal reference power plus 1, and that there is reference power 2, which is the other group, will equal 1. Yeah, so card position equals card position plus 1, which helps with the external, like, counting of moves before you win or lose. Then the card positions will all equal, like, the different cards from the list, because yeah, they're all given. It's hard to explain, but basically, depending on what the card position is, will depend on what card out of the shuffled deck will replace the card you just used. Then it waits for, yeah, that, not long. Yeah, and moves all the cards back. And it adds the listeners again. Talk check goes to 1, which, as you remember from earlier, is used for the when checking if the opponent should for checking if the opponent should reply. Because yeah, when talk check's 1, if you click, then yeah, the opponent will reply. So yeah, then all of this is actually duplicated 5 times, 1 for every card for every card in your hand. Which yeah, I definitely could have done a bit better than that, but yeah, I guess that is as it is currently. Let's find. Okay, this is the opponent reply. So with opponent reply, so opponent move equals opponent move plus 1, same as the other thing, but it's just as this player move. This is just a little note for me, so I remember what every number correlates to what motion. Yeah, it basically does the same, to be honest. It changes the talk check to 2, so that so that it can go into the final, when it can go back to your turn again after you click off this one. Yeah, male voice 1 will play, which is his voice. And yeah, the opponent dummy card will throw. It's basically, yeah, it's the same as the other thing. It's got the arguments of references don't actually work for the opponent, like, we'll run out of time to get that working, but to another player it won't really know. So I've sort of evened them out, and since there's very little intelligence in the opponent currently, like, he won't be intelligent enough to stack references on top of each other, so it doesn't really matter. You can throw gestures. Currently, it is completely random as to what the opponent plays. Because of, yeah, there's no intelligent AI to it, unfortunately. And this is final. It will set everything back to normal. Player speech equals nothing. Opponent speech equals nothing. Yeah, question marks. Your question marks equal true. So it's back to you thinking again. Yeah, everything's literally set back to normal. And then yeah, after the end state, the end state.text. That's the text that will appear on the thing. So if you win, and it will load the title, or you lose. And this will be run either when you get to 100 or 0, or yeah, if after some amount of turns have passed, depending on if you're doing better or worse than your opponent. And so yeah, that's all I really have to say about Debate Club, my game currently. I do plan on actually expanding on this in the future. What I'm planning on doing is adding a bunch more debates and adding a second gameplay loop, which is research. So the whole concept of the finalising, which I hope to one day do, and I kind of hope to put more of it into this build of it, is have one gameplay loop is you researching, and every point you use in that will be added to your deck, and then after the research period is done, then it's time for the actual debate, and there'll be much more card types you can lie, and yeah, and there'll be much more different types of gestures in the deck as well. But yeah, that's for another time, I guess. If I can get that done, that's another point. That won't be done for this build, unfortunately. I have very little more time to do this. This is about as good as it's getting. I might be able to add one more debate or something before the end of the build and fix a few of the bugs, but who knows. So anyway, Anna, thanks for listening, and bye bye.